Good evening, dober večer,
Good evening.
shalom.
Shalom.
To all our viewers, because I'm sure there are some Yiddish speaking.
Nah, would there be Yiddish speaking?
I'm joking, but I'm sure there are some Jews watching this.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
so for those who don't know me, I'm Aleš Ernitzel. I'm a Slovene ethno nationalistic philosopher, sort of say. I've had my podcast for quite a while now. My previous podcast got erased for the reasons of critiquing the clique or the matrix or the chosen people. So my guest tonight is a guy from Spain, who is in a bit more difficult situation than I am. I'm only in a situation where it's hard for me to get a job and so forth, but this guy. So I'm really thankful that you responded so quickly and that you chose to come to my podcast. So thank you, and introduce yourself to my audience, to Slovenes, and to all the foreign audience that's watching this now.
Yeah, so cześć, hola, hello, and привет. My name is Luis Gonzalez. I am. I was born in Russia, so I'm a Slav, but I'm only Slav by birth because I had a DNA test, and I'm mostly Spanish. But I'm a lot Irish. I'm Irish. I'm a little bit English and a little bit some other stuff like Scottish and stuff. But I'm full European. I'm 100% European. Um, uh, so I grew up in England. That's why I speak so good English. But my dad is Spanish and my mum is Russian. But by DNA she's like very Irish. So I'm very little bit Russian by DNA, but I was born in Russian, so I got Russian passport. Um, uh, and I'm mostly by DNA, I'm mostly Spanish. So I'm a Spanish guy. I got like brown hair, dark brown hair, but I got green eyes if you can see them. Yeah, so I'm a white European guy, uh, but I am mostly Spanish. So I'm a Spanish brother.
So I'm a total layman, or at least I will act as one. What's the theory? What's the most probable theory behind the fact that you Mediterranean Europeans are more brown or dark haired, and so
Yeah, I mean, I'm pale white skin. You can probably see I've got very white skin, and I've got green eyes. Now by DNA, I'm fully European, um, but I don't really know why we're dark skin. It might be because like Spain is very hot, so in Spain it can go as high as 47. So maybe that'll do it. Now some Spanish do have some Arabic DNA, but like the guys who conquered us, the Moors, they were white Berbers, so they were North Africans. Now North African Berbers are white, so they are they're white skinned. They carry the SLC white genes. They're North Africans. North African, obviously people are white. Um, but in terms of my case, I've got some photos. I think if you follow me on Facebook, so you've seen my pictures. I'm whiter than most Russians. I'm whiter than a lot of Polish people. So I'm very pale skinned white. But obviously I've got the brown hair, I think, from my Spanish DNA, you know. But I'm I'm a Spanish guy that doesn't have any like North African genes. I'm not North African in any way. But yeah, I mean, I'm 60% Spanish, so I'm very dark in the hairs and stuff. But I'm a white guy. I mean, my wife, and she's Russian. She's fully Russian. Now I've tested her DNA, so she's very European as well. But she's R1A1 genes. I'm R1B. But she laughs at me because her skin is lighter than mine. Her skin's lighter than mine. So she's more olive skin than me. But I just got dark hair. I mean, I got green eyes. So I'm like, I mean, if you see me, I'm European. I'm white European. But I'm dark haired. But the first Europeans that we've got DNA evidence of, they were dark haired. So, some Europeans are dark. So I am dark. I'm not blonde. But I'm European. So I don't worry about it. Some dickheads will say, "Oh, you're an Arab because you got dark hair." But the first Europeans had dark hair. So, I don't care. My skin is white. I'm white, so I'm not worried. I'm not really worried. My DNA says I'm white, so I don't care because my hair's dark. Because at the end of the day, I've proved my whiteness because I fought against the Jews, and I get arrested for white against you. So because my hair is darker, I don't care. A lot of white people got dark hair. I don't really mind.
What do you say about people like Dugin or Dr. E. Michael Jones? For example, E. Michael Jones is our our friend in our war against the Jews, but he says a lot of nonsensical or at least contrarian things towards the concept, the very concept of white people. And for example, Dugin, he also says these are nonsensical concepts. Do you have any?
I call Dugin a Jew. I mean, I don't know. You might know more whether he's Jewish or not. For me personally, he's a Jew. I mean, you might know more. You might say I'm silly for saying he's a Jew, but I've always I've been out on the line. I've put myself on the line, and I've risked myself to fight against Jews. And I think them two people that you mentioned, you might know more of me, or your audience might know more than me. I've seen him say some sort of like not so white things, I've seen him. For me personally, I go by the genes. So like a lot of people I've seen been called not white. I go to skins. For me personally, a lot of white people, they might go dark in the summer. Like for me, people from Iran, white people from Iran, for me they're white people, and the way I personally say it is by the genes. Like all these guys they might get a tan. Like I go dark in the sun, but if you put me, I've got 100 photos of me with white girls, and in the winter we got the same skin, and I judge it on by some people, Iranians and some people, some maybe Georgians or like I said, Iran already, but Spanish people, Greeks, Italians, in the summer we might go dark or we might go dark hair. If you put us all together in the winter, we've all got the same skin color. If you put me, a Spanish guy, you put me with like a Swedish guy, and in the summer I might be darker than him, but in the winter we got the same skin color. So I really think like if your skin is white, if you're not brown, if you're not, if you might be darker in the summer, but if you're in the winter, if I stand next to a Swedish guy, I'm white, and so that for me, that's a white person, that's a white person. It's easy to see a white person because they are white, and like a black person in India and those guys, they're brown, and
It's pretty intuitive, but there is, for example, there's a problem for us in Slovenia and for people in the Balkans. There are a couple of problems, and not only for the people in the Balkans, for all the people in the world. For example, Jews themselves are the problem for the whiteness, because many of them, if not the majority, are pretty pale skinned.
I can answer that from a DNA perspective. So yes, they are white. Yes, they have white skin, but the problem with the Jews, I think you know this, but the majority of the really light skinned Jews, they are Khazars. They're Ashkenazi, so they are Khazars. And yeah, it's true. It's true. At one point in the history, they were white. Yeah. They had the white skin and they were white and everything. The reason they are different by DNA, and that the reason we can show. So my DNA is on my Twitter profile. I think you and I follow each other. So my DNA is on my Twitter profile, and my DNA says I'm 100% white. But the reason they are different, they have a different Ashkenazi, they have a different skin. The reason they are a different branch is they interbred a lot. So they are Khazars. So they are from the Khazarian kingdom, and the Khazarian kingdom, they're like separated from like 1 to 4,000 years. And what these Khazars did is they interbreed. I say Ashkenazi for this show. So they interbred a lot, and because they bred with interbred, they slept with their sister, cousin, whatever, for so long. They did this and they interbred. That they became a different branch. So, like for example, you and I, if me and you, we show our DNA, we might be a bit different. Like you might be like white, Slavic, R1A1. You're probably R1A1. I mean, I'm R1B. So we might be a little bit different, but you can see that we're the same very closely. But with the Jews, they became a different race because they interbred so much. So yeah, they might be white, they might have white blue eyes, but they are a different race from us from interbreeding. So yeah, they're white people in the terms of like a black man will look at me and you and a Jew and they say, oh, you're all white, but they're not because they're interbred. They become different race, so they're not white people anymore. They're not European.
Do you think it's become very popular? I've been watching some American podcasts, for example, I don't know, Jake Shields and those two black twins. They've been promoting this thing that Khazars, for example, that there are totally separate white tribe or
yeah. So Jews.
yeah.
The science way to say it biologically is like Europeans. You can get Europeans and they might have dark hair, they might have blonde hair, they might have ginger hair, they might have, blonde hair, all these things. But if you, for a science, like I'm a scientist, I'm a biologist. So if you look at it, every guy, like you, me, like a really blonde guy or a ginger guy, if you look at us together and you look at us, our DNA, we are all the same. Like you get R1B, you get J2, you get J1, you get all these different white people. And we might have like black hair, blonde hair, ginger hair, whatever, but we are very similar in DNA. There's not we're like brothers in terms of DNA strands. So yeah, like a Spanish guy might be different from a Swedish guy, but our DNA is the same pool. But these Khazars, these Ashkenazis, it's like Khazar Ashkenazi. That's two descriptions for the same thing. They interbred so much that they became separate. So let me give an example. So let's say, for argument's sake, let's say I fucked my sister, and then she fucked her brother, and then her son fucked that brother. Right? You do that for 1,000 years. All of a sudden, you're a different tribe. You're not the same as the people you once came from, because you've interbred so much that you broke away from that European, or what, because by DNA, West Asian people, so I'm not talking about, so people from the Couscous Mountains, like people from the Levant, or whatever, these West Asians, that they're also in the white group, so they're big grouped with Europeans, but these Jews, these Khazars, because they slept with their sister, they slept with their mum, they slept with wife for so long, they broke away. They broke away. So we could say by DNA, Jews are not white people. They're no longer white. Yeah, they got white skin, but they're not the same race. They broke away from race, and the how they done that is because they just one second, I'm getting a glass of water. That they broke away by just interbreeding. Like they slept with their sister, they slept with their mum, they slept with their cousin, they did all that. So they broke away from the white tribe. So white, yeah, they look white skin. They are not white if you check them biologically, because they became Jewish. They become different because they slept with each other so much, and that's what happened in that perspective. They broke away from the European West Asian tribe. They broke away from us by just sleeping with each other so much. That's what made them Jewish.
The most interesting thing for me is that we were taught in school, probably written by curriculum written by the Jews themselves. We were taught that our European aristocracy, for example, Habsburgs, although it might be that Habsburgs were already mixed with the Jews. I agree that this is possible, but we were taught in schools that our aristocracy interbred. You heard about the famous Habsburg?
Yeah, I know about the Habsburgs.
Do you think they were mixed with Jews already? The Habsburgs?
I don't know. I mean, the problem is, like, there are like a million Europeans who, if they have a DNA test, they've got Ashkenazi. But Ashkenazi is still Europeans. They're still white people. But if your DNA, like my DNA is on my Twitter profile, I've got no Jewish DNA. So I'm like 60% Spanish, but I'm not in any way. I've got no Jewish. So I'm not Jewish. But these people that show that someone might be 80% German, but like 20% Jewish, and these Ashkenazi, they're very mixed with us because these Jews, they bred with us a lot. Like Jews lived in Europe, and you get guys that their father is Jewish, but their mum is like Slovenian or Albanian or whatever, and so they mix with us deliberately because, like, for example, a Jew can go to China and, like, he can fit in. People who don't know, they'll say, "Oh, you're a white person," but they're not white. They're not white like you or me. They are they're still Jewish.
What do you think? For example, I've got a friend who's a noticer who recognizes phenotypes and so forth, and he said to me that, for example, Jordan B. Peterson is at least 10% Ashkenazi. What do you think about these people?
You can't really say, because the way that the Jews can mix with us so well is because, for example, I never knew this when I was younger. So when I was a young man, until, like, let's say I was 40, I didn't really know about Jews, or I knew about Jews, but I didn't look at them different. So I had a girlfriend. I was engaged to her, and she was an Ashkenazi Jew, and I never knew all my life until I saw her surname, and her surname is Kazimierczak, and that's a Jewish surname. So I approached her about it recently, and she said she's a Catholic. She's married to a white guy, and she doesn't practice. She practices Catholicism. She's not a practicing Jew. She doesn't say she's Jewish or anything like that. But I approached her about it, and I said, "Hey, your surname's Jewish," and she, yeah. I had a DNA test, and I'm 91% Ashkenazi. But like, I'm a Catholic. I don't practice it at all. So she doesn't practice Judaism. It's just like at some point in her life, she became Jewish, and but she doesn't act like a Jew. She's not a practicing Jew, and but this just happened. So by DNA, she's a Jew, but she doesn't act like a Jew. Like her kid goes to Catholic school and all that. She's a practicing Catholic, but these things happen because a lot of Jews mix with us over the years. They mix with us, but some of these Jews, like the Rothschilds, or they stuck with the Jewish faith, and they say, "Oh well, I'm a Jew, and I'm not white." And it depends on the person, because like I know a couple of Jewish people. And they're really good people. Like they don't say, "Oh, I'm better than you," and I'm blah blah. Like this guy that I know, he's half Jewish, but he married a goy. He married a goy girl, and his kids they don't practice Judaism. They practice. I think they're Orthodox, and they don't act like Jews. But the thing is, yeah, he's a Jew, but he moved away from it. So he doesn't act like a Jew. He doesn't say he's a Jew. He's just like a normal person. But he's Jewish by DNA. But I think the difference is the people that act like a Jew, that act Jewish, like I say, we're goyim, we're Jewish, we're God's chosen people, we're different from you. Then those people are like proper Jewish Jews. But then you get some Ashkenazi people amongst us, and they don't practice. They marry a goy, and I'm not Jew. I practice Christian. And there's a lot of Jews amongst us. I mean, you might have a really good friend, and he doesn't know he's a Jew, but he's a DNA test. And he says, "Oh shit, I'm Jewish." But for me, like I'm talking to a guy, and he said there's like 6% Ashkenazi Jewish. The thing is, if you act like a Jew, like if you're a guy that says, "Oh, we're God's chosen people," fuck the goyim, we're going to kill white people, open borders. And if you act that way, then you're a proper Jew. But if you just got a little bit of Jewish DNA, but you're married to a goyim and you don't practice Judaism, then you're just a normal person that unfortunately has got Jewish DNA. And so I mean, like every single person, even like our closest friends, they might be like a lifelong soldier. They might fight alongside us, but they might one day do an exercise and say, "Oh shit, I'm 30% Ashkenazi Jew." But the thing is, if you still act like a white man and you like, you don't practice Judaism, you're not open borders, you're not saying fucking kill the white man, then you can survive that. You can say, "Oh, listen, I might be a bit Jewish, but I'm going to marry a goyim. I'm not going to tell my kids they're Jews." Then over a couple of generations, it'll be bred out. And I think anyone in a situation where there might be one of our friends that might be on our side, but they're a little bit Ashkenazi Jew, if they just keep breeding with white people, then eventually in a couple of generations it's gone, So, I won't hate someone if they're a little bit Jew, but they're on our side. Then I personally won't hate them, because it's not really their fault. For some, mix of circumstances, they got a little bit of Jew in them. But as long as they don't breed with the Jews, they don't act like the Jews, then over a couple of then that Jewish stuff will be gone from their gene pool,
I think those, for example, I mentioned before Dr. Peterson. Why are they so proud of it, even if they have a little bit?
They're proud Jews, even if they're only a little bit Jew. I don't know, in these I mean, there is no like famous guy. There isn't any famous guy. Like these people like this HT and like Candice Jones and all that. They are people that are like Stu Peters. These people, they're funded by Jews, and when this happens to them, they're no longer with us. Yeah, they might say the good things like "fuck the Jews" and all that, but they're in the Jewish circle because they get the Jewish funding. So they can't really be like me and you. I'm going to go to prison for being a goy, and like you're doing your thing. You might not go to prison, but you're fighting a fight for us. Like you're a white person, and you will fight the Jews on Twitter or this program that we're doing. But these people, they might do the words. They might say, "Oh yeah, fuck the Jews," but their funding, their money comes from the Jews. So they're not fighting the fight. Like me, I'm going to go to prison because I'm fighting a fight. But these people, they're not fighting a fight because their money comes from the Jews. So you know, they're not really one of us. They're not fighting the fight because it's a war. I mean, it's a war. We're fighting a war. We're trying to fight the Jews on Twitter or whatever. We're doing these programs, and I'm going to go to prison. But then, if they're getting the money from the Jews, they're not fighting the fight. You know, they're like I don't know the words. Slavinsky, he knows the words. These people, they're not part of us anymore because they're part of the Jewish tribe. Because they might say the words, but when the Jews call them, they come, and so they're not us. They're not fighting alongside. We're in the trench. We're fighting a battle. They're like fighting for us, and they're also fighting for the enemy. So they're not part of our. They're not part of the battle. They're not fighting on our side, shall we say?
Please, we've gone pretty far ahead right now. Please tell us before I forget. What happened to you? What happened?
So what happened? So we're getting ready for Christmas, and it's early morning. And I was actually going to an appointment. I was going to meet some from work. I was working from home at the time, but I was going to an appointment from work. I had to get ready, so I had my shower early, and my girlfriend, she's in the kitchen. There's a knock on the door, and I go up and I look out the window, and there's police. And I know straight away because I haven't hit anyone. I haven't stolen anything. So I know it's got to be Twitter. And I come downstairs immediately. They handcuff me straight away. So they say, right, do you understand what's happened to you? And I read something on Twitter about saying you don't understand. So I said, no, I don't understand. It did help me anyway. So they handcuffed me. They come in my house, and my fucking girlfriend's screaming. Kids are all scared. They're running. They're going in the room. And they didn't really do anything to me, but they searched all the house, and they this was like evening time, so they searched my house, and then they took me to a cell, like a cell in a, and I thought I was in a police station, but I wasn't in a police station. I was in like an airport, but I didn't know it at the time. So anyway, like, I'm always friendly when I get arrested because there's no point fighting with the police because what can I do? I can't. I did say some things about, this is a fucking Jews. And they looked at me and said, and I'm always friendly. So I said, the reason I'm friendly is I get a cup of tea, I get a sandwich, they look after me. And then, so I'm in this cell for a long time. And then I get taken to another thing, and it's in the fucking airport. So I'm walked out, and I'm in an airplane, and I'm flying. And I get put on an airplane. Now I don't know anything. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know. I'm going to get president, someone getting arrested, like murderers. I didn't know what was going on. Because I was really worried, because I think I'm going to fly to wherever. I'm flying to Dubai, and I get arrested for murder. I didn't know what was going on. So I'm really scared. I've got to tell you, like, I'm not shaking. I'm not scared, scared. But I'm thinking, oh, man, I'm going to fly here, and I'm going to be put in prison for a million years. So I honestly think, I'm saying, can I use the phone? So I use the phone. They won't let me use their phone. Anyway, I'll fly to England, at the airport, and I go through customs and all that. And anyway, I go through it, and it's British police. So anyway, I meet these British police, and I get in a meat wagon, and I'm all searched and that. And then I drive to Little While, about I don't know, 45 minutes. And then I drive to another. It felt like forever, honestly. It was going slow. Because I don't even know what I've done wrong, but I'm thinking it's about my Twitter. And anyway, I get to this place, and then I'm in a cell. And like I said, I'm being friendly. And then when I'm in this with police, they ask me, they said, I say, and I said, yeah, the Holocaust didn't happen, I say. And they said, blah, blah, blah. And I said, the Holocaust didn't happen, it's all fake, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I said something like that. And this policeman, he says, I just want to double check. Did you say the Holocaust going to happen? They said, yeah, that's what I said. And anyway, then I'm in a cell, and I'm really worried about my family because they're all stressed out, and like kids are fucking crying. And so I'm like, I didn't take a solicitor because when I knew it was about Twitter, I thought, well, because when I was booking in, they said we're arresting him for anti-Semitism. That's the first thing I know, it's anti-Semitism. So I thought, well, I didn't get a solicitor because I thought, well, I don't know what. In my head, I thought, I just want to get home. So I thought, well, I haven't done anything. Well, I said to them, I haven't done it. All I do is educate. So they got me out quickly because I didn't get a solicitor. So I was in their cell for like 3-4 hours. They got me out quickly. So I just went into the cell. And I had, because I've got a brain injury, I had to have a fucking accompanying adult. And the fucking accompanying adult was a nigger. I thought, oh my God, I've been saying all this shit about niggers on my Twitter. Ah, my God, this is terrible. So anyway, this fucking guy next to me is a nigger. So anyway, they showed me a couple of tweets, and some of them were racist tweets. So I said, well, I don't run my Twitter account by myself. I said, other people run it, so I don't know. Because like they were showing me racist tweets. And I said, well, I don't know if I said that, because I said at the start of my thing, I want to say startly, I don't hate anybody. So I said, all I do is tell the truth. So I don't hate anybody. All I do is tell the truth. Then they showed me some fucking racist tweets. And I'm like, oh my God. And I said, well, I obviously didn't write that because I don't hate anybody. And they showed me some things. And they showed me some guys, some guys on my Twitter. And I said, do you know him? And I said, no, I don't know him. Then they showed me a friend. I won't name him because, you know, I don't want to get him in trouble. They showed me a friend that you and I know. They showed me him. And I said, do you know this guy? And I said, no, I don't know him. And they said, do you know his name? I said, no, I don't know his name. And then I said, I mean, I can send you my CD. It was all on CD. And I said, listen, I want to tell you something. I'm not a grass. So I'm not going to say the name of any of these people. Even if I know it, I'm not going to tell you because I'm not a grass. And they went through it and they said, do you know this? And they showed me some tweets. And some of them weren't me. Some of them, I just retweeted them. And they showed me, like, so I posted like SS or some waffle and stuff. And they said, oh, what about this? And I said, well, I'm a National Socialist. So, of course, I'm going to show that because I said, I'm a National Socialist because I believe this is the best political methodology. So, yeah, I'm going to post National Socialist stuff because, yeah, I said, I'm a National Socialist. Of course, I'll post that. And they did some, and I just said some stuff. I mean, I don't remember exactly, but I said some stuff like, I said, yeah, I said, look, the Holocaust didn't happen. And I said, listen, I said, everything we're taught is a lie. I said, Hitler was innocent. And I said, yeah, I said, you know, Jews are doing all this shit. I said, Jews are trying to make us extinct. They bring all these black people. I said, you know that white people are only 419 million people in the world. And I said, we're nearly extinct. So, yeah, you know, I said, I don't agree with immigration because it's against nature. I said, listen, nature didn't intend white people to live with black people. I said, if nature intended it, we would live together. So I said all that in my interview. I didn't name anyone, or I didn't say, oh, I know this guy. I didn't do anything like that. And I mean, I can show you my DVD. Like, I didn't mention anybody. I didn't know any names. I didn't say I know anybody. Nothing like that. I'm not a grass. You know, I went to prison when I was a young kid because I'm not a grass. I'm not going to grass. So I didn't give any names. And yeah. So basically, I just said, look. And you know what? Someone said to me, what would the Jew think if they looked at your Twitter? And I said, listen, my Twitter is called National Socialism. I said, I don't go looking at fucking Jew profiles. And the police officer said, oh, actually, that's a good point. So basically, even the police were agreeing with me. So, you know, the reason that I'm not worried is because the way I see it, if I go to court, I'm going to say in court, I'm only telling the truth. And if the truth is now illegal, what world are we living in? All I'm doing is educating people about the truth. And if that's now illegal, what world have we built for ourselves? What world have we built if I'm telling the truth and I'm going to go to prison for 5 years for just telling the truth? What is that about? Because, you know what I mean? If I'm going to go to prison for telling the truth, then fuck it, I'll go to prison because I don't regret what I did. All I've done is I've said that Hitler was innocent, you know, and, you know, World War II, we were the bad guys. And that, the way I see it, that's the truth. So if I'm going to go to prison for that, fuck it, I don't care because, you know, I'm not a coward, you know. I fought in 2 wars, you know. I did my national service and I went and fought in Ukraine. I regret it because it's a Jew war, but at the time, all I saw was, you know, I was in Britain at the time. They're slagging off Russia. And I thought, nah, Russia's, you know, and I went there and I fought in that war. So I'm not a coward. So if I have to go to prison for this, because it's a war and I'm a soldier and I'm fighting because, you know, they're making my species extinct. What am I going to do? Just sit there and take it? No, I'm not going to sit there and take it. All I'm doing is I'm telling the truth. I'm not going on my Twitter and saying, fucking kill every Jew. I've never said anything like that. All I'm talking about is Jewish power. You know, I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth about what's going on. So if I have to go to prison for that, so be it. I don't care. I've been to prison for it. I don't care. But the thing is, like, I think I might get away with it in court. And the reason being, I think if those judges are like genuine people, and I stand and I say, listen, I haven't done anything. All I've done is told the truth. And if that's illegal, what would our ancestors? Our ancestors, my white ancestors, they lived through a drought. They lived through ice ages. You know, they lived when like they weren't the only predators in England. You had lions, you had tigers, you had that. Our ancestors, I'm going to say to the judge, our ancestors fought and survived to build the world that we live in. What would they think if they look down and they see me, their like great grandson going to jail for telling the truth? What's that about? What's that about? You know, I'm going to go to jail for telling the truth when all I've done is fucking talked about the people that are killing my species. What, you know? So
let's take a couple of. There are a couple of great questions from.
Okay, yeah, go on.
First one. Does, in your opinion, Julio Iglesias look more like a Jew or more like a Spanish?
No, I don't think he's a Jew, because Enrique Iglesias is a decent guy, and he's not got a Jew nose, and he doesn't support Israel or anything like that. So no, I don't think Julio's a Jew. No, I think he's just a very successful guy that you know, he had a good voice, and you know, I mean, Julio Iglesias was very successful in Spain. And he didn't do any Jew things like he became famous under Franco, and Franco definitely wasn't a Jew. So I'd say no, Julio is not a Jew. No.
I'm not sure about Franco. I published a couple of weeks or months.
What do you think? Franco might have been a Jew? I mean, listen, I don't know for sure, but listen, I wasn't born when Franco was around, so I don't care if he was a Jew or he wasn't a Jew. But the one thing I'll say in favor of Franco was that he fought the Jews in the Spanish Civil War and he beat them. So that makes him, like, in my opinion, you might have more information, and if you do, I'd like to hear it. I mean, this is an interesting topic, so if you know more than I do, like I said, I'm not expert on this, so if you know more than I do, I'd love to hear it. But I would say Franco was not a Jew, literally because he fought the Jews in the Civil War, because he fought the communists and he beat them. So in my opinion, that makes him not a Jew. But if you know something that I don't, I'd love to hear it.
I mean, it's not conclusive when someone fights the communists, you know, because the right wingers fight the communists too, and they are all Jews.
They're funded by Jews. Yeah,
you know what I mean. One
thing I'll say that backs your point is Franco was in power for a very long time, and I don't know how we would do that without Jew help, because he was in power for, like, when he won the Civil War until, like, when he died. And I don't know how we would do that without Jew help. So that's, I mean, I'll have to look into it. I mean, listen, I'm not like pro Franco, but I will admit Spain was better under Franco. I will admit that.
I mean, I'm not a scholar in Franco stuff. I sympathize with Franco. You know, when I was a child, since I was a child, I was, because I was in love with the way they played, because I was a footballer when I was younger.
Oh, were you really? Where did you play?
With Barcelona. And when you fall in love with Barcelona, you get all this Catalan about the Franco, you know. And I believed up till my 30th, probably, that Catalans were all these poor people that couldn't speak their language, and Franco tyrannized them. And up till now,
I don't think it was like that. To be honest, I mean, Franco was like, he was very pro Madrid. But I'll tell you something, I mean, my family obviously lived in Spain. Now, my dad is Colombian, but he's full Spanish DNA. So I had a lot of family that I've met now who were in Spain and under Franco. And they tell me that it was much better under Franco. Let me give you an example. Like, one of my uncles, he got pulled over under Franco and he was drunk, like really drunk. He's a bit of a drinker, my uncle, because Spanish people drink a lot. He was really drunk. And the police said to him, have you had a few drinks? And he was worried. He was like, and he was drunk, so he couldn't really say no. He said a couple, and the police said, we'll follow you home. And even though he was drunk and he was driving mad, they followed him home to his house. Now, that wouldn't happen today under modern time. So I think it was better for Spanish people under Franco. But whether he's a Jew or not, I really don't know. I don't care really, because Franco was before my time, so I don't care if he was a Jew or he wasn't Jew. But I'd like to think he wasn't a Jew, because I'll tell you one thing: my grandfather's cousin. So my grandfather was very short, so he didn't fight in the army because he was very short. But my grandfather's first cousin, Raphael, fought with the Wehrmacht in Russia. He wanted to kill communists. He didn't come back. He went there to fight, and he didn't come back. He died in Russia. His name was Raphael. So my grandfather's first cousin fought in the Wehrmacht. Yeah, and I know because my family, remember, they got the records. My grandfather fought, and my grandfather Raphael is even in the Wehrmacht, in the German files. He went to, he fought for Hitler in Russia. He went and fought, but he died there. Yeah, so. That's why I hope Franco was a good guy, because he gave some Spanish people to fight. But I'd like to know if you could. I mean, we're friends on Twitter. So you tell me if you find out he was a bad guy. I don't know.
No, I'm not saying he was a bad guy. I'm just saying that he, if I read correctly, he was supposed to be in the same lineage, familial lineage as Fidel Castro.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
Castro was a Jew, obviously.
Castro was a Jew.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I mean, if they're both rulers and they both got to power, then it makes sense they were related. You know, that definitely makes sense. I don't really know. And even though I'm Spanish, I haven't really looked into that, because obviously I've got a degree in history and I study it, but I didn't talk about Jews and all that when I studied. I basically know about Spain, like the fucking when we conquered the Americas and all that stuff. But I don't know. I mean, it's actually a good point, because obviously Castro was fucking Trudeau's dad, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah. Look at here. He writes that Iglesias says about himself that he's of Jewish ancestry on his maternal.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. Really?
Yeah, that his mother's family name De La Cueva, meaning literally of the cave, and referring to Jewish people in hiding, is a common Jewish name. He has proclaimed himself Jewish from the waist up. But you know this.
But the problem is, because Jews run music. Like, I personally don't believe that Iglesias was Jewish, because he hasn't in any way acted Jewish. Like, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, it could be true. But the thing is with Iglesias is like, he was a very charismatic man, and I think he might have, right. Jews run music and Jews run movies and all that. He might have been saying that, like saying waist from the waist up. That sounds like a Spanish way, just to like kind of fit him. Like, for example, when I was in Poland, I spoke Polish, and I lived in Poland, right? And to fit in with people, I used to say to them, "Oh, yeah, I'm Polish from the waist up." Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, I mean, I'm not Polish in any way by DNA, but I spoke Polish, and everyone said, "Oh, you're just like a Pole," because I'm Catholic. I don't practice now because I'm Catholic. They said, "Oh, you're Catholic. You are literally a Pole." That's what people used to say, and I used to say, "Yeah, I'm Polish from the waist up." Do you know what I mean? So he might have just been saying that to fit in because Jews run music. I don't know. I mean, whatever you tell me, you might say. But I wouldn't say, from what I know about, I don't really know Julio. I know his son better, because I met his son, Enrique. I don't think they act like Jews.
If you're kind of a celebrity, you probably would pander to Jews.
If I had to guess, even I don't care either way, but I would say that Julio's full Spanish and not Jew. That's what I'd say. From my like knowledge of Julio, I'd say he's not a Jew at all. I would say he was just saying that to like kind of fit in, to be honest with the Jews, because he's a smart guy, probably just trying to make sure that his records made money. You know. I would say he's not a Jew, to be honest, but I don't know. Maybe he is. I don't know.
Tell me something. What's the atmosphere in Spain?
Very sad.
I had plenty of experience, but not with Spanish students. Mostly with Catalan students. Catalans.
Well, I'm in Andalusia, and for me, obviously, I'm biased. Andalusia is the best place because in here, everyone's out on the street like with their radios, and everyone's happy. But there's a very bad atmosphere in Spain right now. because there's a lot of niggers here, but people don't like it. Like Spanish people are very upset about it. And I've got a group of friends. I don't want to talk too much about it because I can get in trouble. But this group of friends, we've been doing some shit about the immigrants, and a lot of people are unhappy with the amount of black people. Now, Spanish people in general aren't racist, and I'll tell you why. Under Franco, it was a very right-wing, far-right sort of fascist, should we say. Fascist is the word. I don't agree with fascism as a word, but let's say that's the word that's used. So let's say it was a very fascist, far-right sort of atmosphere in Spain under Franco. And it made Spanish people very left-wing. They're very like open to like immigration and all that. But now that immigration started happening in Spain, and there's been some rapes and there's been some murders and that, black people are very, Spanish people are very unhappy about it. They're very, very unhappy about it. I mean, a lot. I go to a lot because Spanish people is like literally to describe Spain for you. It's really like a high street where you live in Slovenia. It's literally hundreds of bars. You go in one bar, you can go in one bar, have a beer, then walk out that bar, go in another bar, have another beer. So I do this like sometimes when I want to break from my missus and I'm going for a walk. I go into town, I go in bar. And a lot of people are talking about the immigrants and they're not happy. So it's bit of a bad environment in Spain with all the immigration. So people aren't happy because like there's been a lot of crimes. I mean, there's one girl married and murdered here by a Somalian just recently, I think last week or the week before. And another girl was robbed by a knife in her shop. And when I've been in the bars lately, a lot of people are talking about this. So bit of a negative, sort of after Christmas, been a bit of a negative period in Spain here. People talking about immigration and yeah, people are not happy right now in Spain.
One question: do you know anything about Strasser?
No, I don't know that word. What is it?
He was a Hitler, Adolf Hitler colleague. They fell apart as colleagues. I don't know a lot about Strasser either. There was one viewer that asked this question: if you knew him and what was your opinion on it. But
I haven't heard of him. I haven't heard of him. I know very well like Goebbels and Heinrich Himmler. I'm a big Himmler fan, but I haven't heard of Strauss. I haven't heard of him. I've heard the name. Like, probably read about him like a couple of years ago or something. But I don't know. I'm not an expert on him. I'm sorry. Sorry to let you down. I don't know him. I'm sorry. Goebbels, I'm big on Goebbels. You know that Goebbels had a really high IQ. People don't like it when I say this but Goebbels is probably my favourite national socialist. I'm a big Goebbels fan. I love Himmler as well, but Goebbels is probably my favourite because Goebbels was such super intelligent, and I admire that. Like, he was a really clever guy. So I love Goebbels. I think Goebbels was he was the star for me. Goebbels. And obviously, everyone loves Hitler. I'm not criticising Hitler in any way. Yeah, I'm a big Hitler fan, but for me, Goebbels was the shining star. Do you like Goebbels?
Not. I mean, the only thing I really know about Goebbels, or I heard about Goebbels or Himmler, is that it was Himmler and Goebbels that were, for example, anti-Christian even back then.
Yeah, I'm not a Christian. So listen, sir, I was a Christian, so I'm Orthodox and Catholic. So my mum was Orthodox and my dad's a Catholic. So I got confirmed in both churches. But I was a practicing Catholic. And then at one point in my life, I just thought, would God really only send his son down after like 4.6 billion years? Would he only do that? And then, I looked into it and I said, because the Abrahamic faith, Abraham is like the head of the Jews. Like, Abraham's the head of the Jews. I don't know if he actually existed as a person, but like, if you read online, even on Google, Abraham was the head of the Jews. He was the first Jew head of the Jews. And I think, hold on, Abrahamic faiths are named after him. So obviously that put me straight off Christianity. So I don't like Christianity anymore. So I read what Himmler said about Christianity, and that made me like him more. So yeah, I think that's probably the main reason why I like Goebbels and Himmler. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I still consider myself a Catholic because up till 91, you could practically say 100% that Catholicism was a big part of Slovenian identity. When
I didn't know you. I thought you were Orthodox.
no. Slovenes and Croats are Catholics. And
yeah, I'm a Catholic. I was because I'm Spanish Orthodox, and my mum was Russian. Yeah, I'm both Orthodox. So I practiced more as a Catholic than I did as an Orthodox. Yeah.
Back then it was even Jews hated Catholicism because it was a big part of national identity of many European nations. You know,
Spain, Italy. Yeah.
We are Catholics. Slovenes would say we are Catholics. Spanish people would say we are Catholics, and
Poland's Catholics.
Yeah. The Jews hated it. But I've been noticing lately that since then the new atheism came with those Jews, Dawkins, Hitchens, and so forth. And at the beginning,
Dawkins a Jew.
I mean, they behave as Jews at least.
Yeah.
Sure, if they are Jews, but I'm sure they have they are at least partly Ashkenazic, because they so fervently as they fought against, because at the end they fought against they ruined a big part of European nations' identity. Because of them, many Europeans fell out of their religion, which was their religion for many centuries.
Yeah.
No matter what, even if the origin of Catholicism, of Christianity is Jewish, European people, they made something.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, what we could do. I mean, if we win this war, I mean, I don't mind. Like, listen, I'm. The thing is, I never went up. I mean, Slavinsky knows this. Me, I'm a person. I'm never forceful. So what I say is like, I have a lot of ideas, but I never say. I say to people on my Twitter or whatever, I say, don't follow me, don't imitate me. I'll give ideas, but listen, I've got an idea. I think if we win this war, like if we win Europe back, if we defeat the kikes, yeah, if we can win, I would say, look, let's scrap all the religions and go back to our ancient religions. So I don't know anything about paganism. I keep saying I want to read about it. But, Europe was for a long time pagan. And we built, big communities as pagans. So either we could go back to being pagan or just fucking build a new, like, European religion, just build a new complete one. I don't know. But like I said, I'm not telling you what we should do, because I'm not demanding. But what I'm saying is, I think we should scrap all the shit that's been negative to us in our past, like all the stuff that's held us back in the past, like, because something ruined the Roman Empire. And I'm not saying it was Christianity, but like something, I mean, obviously it was Jews, but like, I think we should delete all the fucking Jewish shit, delete all of it, and maybe just start again. You know what I mean? Maybe just start again, get some like intelligent people to know about spiritualism and mysticism and say, look, this is the religion we will follow. Maybe just build a brand new religion on some person who's really intelligent in like all this kind of stuff. Because I'm not good in spiritualism, or I've never been good in that. But like someone who's really good in it, they can make a new religion, a whole new European religion that's about Europe first,
Yeah, I agree. Idealistically, the best religion for us Europeans, for white people, would be religion or religions that would be nation focused.
Yeah, I agree, because I remember being on a space a long time ago, and I said, if we win this war, let's just delete all fucking passports, because I think passports are a Jewish thing. I think what we should do, if we win this war, is to have a white kingdom, Aryan kingdom. Like white people, all white people have an Aryan kingdom. So we can still keep our passports in. Says, I'm proud to be Spanish. So we have the Spanish borders, but like instead of being Spanish, like a Spanish and a Polish guy, we say, before I'm Spanish and you're Polish, firstly, we're brothers. We're white brothers. I think that'd be great if we had a white kingdom, where everyone's a white brother. So, like, say, if I go to China and I meet you there, for example, me and you meet up in China, I say, "Oh, hi, brother." I'm my brothers. You know what I mean? That'd be great if we had something in our culture where whenever you meet a white man, you're like, "Hi, brother." That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? It's like, "Hi, brother." That'd be great because like I think it's the monks. When the monks meet up, they say like, "Hi, brother." It'd be great if white people did that. You meet a white man anywhere in the world, you say, "Oh, hi,
Yeah,
brother."
I was trying to make an argument about paganism and Christianity. I mean, the first critique of Christianity is that it's too universalistic, so that Jews can hide behind the universalistic God. But there's no evidence at all that the old religions were nation focused.
No, I don't know. No, I think. I mean, the thing is, I don't know enough about it to comment. But I know that Odin. What I've researched about Odin is he seemed like a pretty good guy. I think Thor is too cartoonish because Thor with a hammer, that's too cartoonish. But
yeah,
Odin seems pretty cool.
You can say that the old religions, old faiths were better from the Nietzschean point of view, or Nietzschean critique of Christianity, because they were more they were more consolidated with the power of the will. They were not as focused on the weak.
Yeah.
But this is Nietzschean critique that is not nationalistic. I mean, idealistic.
I agree.
Yeah. So we have problems both with old religions are also universalistic. They are only better in relationship to Christianity in the sense they are more consolidated with the power of the will. This is the only thing they are better in, but they are also universalistic. So we don't have any ideal old religion. I mean, and I also wanted to say this. I do think that paganism is similar. It's what Catholics. It's Catholic way to say goyim. It's a pejorative. I do think. I don't know if there were old religions, old faiths that were called.
Well, I mean, because I'm a biologist, I do a lot of research on stuff, and I found out about the ancient Egyptians. It's really interesting because, the ancient Egyptians that built the pyramids, they were white Aryans like you and I. They're white people, just people like you and I, very intelligent. And what happened was the Jews were in that as well because the Jews had money and had power. And what they did is they pushed in ancient Egypt. They said, "Oh, listen, if you mate with the Sumerian slaves, the brown and black slaves, you will be stronger people." And the ancient Egyptians, the people, they started mating with the slaves, and then within a couple of generations, all the whites were extinct. But the whites from that period, they built all those great pyramids that we know of. They built pyramids in China, built pyramids in Peru. I mean, they were really fucking great Aryans. And the Jews destroyed them as well by pushing race mixing there. But the thing is, those guys, I mean, they built so much stuff that even today, like architects today, they look at those pyramids and they say, I've got no idea how they built that. So I wonder if they had a religion. I mean, I don't know, but they might have had something that might have been pretty good. They might have had a good religion. We have to do some research. Now, I think what we have to do, when we win this war, people like me, you, and other like intelligent Aryans, we should all sit down. Like I think we should get like a million Aryans together in a big hall, or just like fucking all like do a big debate. And we should talk about all our Aryan history, all the things we've done, like the Scythians and Alani, all these great people who built great things. We should sit down and say, what was their religion? You know what I mean? And try and find, because Aryans have done so much for so long. Because in my opinion, I'm a biologist, as I said, right? We have found fossils. We found a fossil in Turkey, and Turkey's in West Asia. West Asia is white territory, right? So West Asia, Iran, Turkey, that's white territory. So we found a fossil in Turkey that's 8.7 million years old. The oldest human fossil we've ever found. Like, it's hominid. It's not like it's not like us. We've 8.7 million years old. Then we found another fossil in Europe, in Greece, 7.2 million years old. And we found the teeth in that fossil in Bulgaria, 7.2 million years old. Now, the way I see it, and remember, I've got experience of this. I studied 4 years evolutionary biology. I've been a biologist for like 20 years, right? In my evidence, it doesn't take that many years for a ape fossil, a hominid fossil, to turn into a human. So I think white people, white humans, we found a skull in a cave of Greece, in Greece as well. A skull very similar to my skull or your skull, 700,000 years old, nearly a million years old, of a skull in a cave in Greece of people that looked like you and I almost, but had a bigger brainwave, right? That means, if we judge by these fossils, that means white people are 1 to 3 million years old, right? So we've been alive in Europe and West Asia for 1 to 3 million years, right? So we've been here a long time. You've got to think all these things we've achieved for 3 million years. We've got to have had a religion in that time frame that we could use in the future going forward. Do you think?
I'm dubious about of whether we can return to old faiths, old religions. It's the same problem as it is today when you ask yourself of whether it is true that Jesus lived, died on a cross, and then came out of the grave, and so forth. You have to rely on other people's opinions, and you have to have faith in other people's opinions, and this is just too old and too supernatural.
I agree. I think you've made a very good point there, because I think the problem is, I mean, I don't personally believe Jesus existed, and I'll tell you why. Because no historians at the time have mentioned him. So if you look, we know about Julius Caesar because historians mention him. We know about Alexander the Great because historians mention him. So I don't personally believe in Jesus because no historians at all. There were a lot of historians writing history in 0 AD to 33 AD, a lot. But not one of them ever mentioned this Jesus guy. None of them did. So I don't personally believe it. I think he was just... I don't know. I think Jesus was based on numerous people that lived around them time. And they kind of put these people together, and they put them into one person, and that person was called Jesus. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I don't know because I wasn't alive at the time. But I think you made a really intelligent point there, because I think all we've been through after the past, World War II, World War I, all this stuff that was Jewish, end of the Roman Empire, which was Jewish, end of the Egyptian Empire, which was Jewish, end of the fucking Persian Empire, which was Jewish. If we put all these things together, I think if we add all our history up, I think all that we've been through as white people, I think we could create a new religion based on all these things that we've overcome. Because we survived World War I, we survived World War II, we survived the mass immigration. Not yet, but we're going to survive the mass immigration. I think when we win this war, if we sit down as white people together and say, look, we survived all this shit. What got us through all this? There's something that got us through all this stuff. The end of the Roman Empire, the end of the Persian Empire. Something got us through all this stuff. Yeah, something. So that should be our God. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I cannot imagine anything else but the religion that would be based on myths to half-truths to truths about our long deceased ancestors.
Or even, even if we fucking made Hitler, because, I know, look, I haven't got any scientific evidence to say this. Do I say it sometimes? I'm half joking. But the way I see it is Adolf Hitler was a prophet. I believe more in Adolf Hitler being a prophet than Jesus Christ being a prophet, because we have evidence that Adolf Hitler existed. But what did Adolf Hitler become? He came down, he grew up poor, he had a horrible father, he wasn't rich. And he went on World War I, where he was a war hero, he got injured, and then he martyred himself for white people. I mean, he did. He died, he killed himself because he was fighting the Jews. So maybe we could use Adolf Hitler as our prophet,
Well, what you learn at the Apollo, because I used to be friends with many Protestants, and Protestants have this branched out apologetics schools all around the world, even more than Catholics. Catholics, they stayed behind, and they didn't develop the faith amongst their own people. So that's the part of why many Slovenes stopped being Catholics. But when I was in this Protestant circles, what you get in this apologetics 1.0 is that Flavius Josephus, as Yasne mentioned, Jesus.
Yeah.
Second thing is
no, it's fake. It's fake. I know they say that Flavius Jesus wrote a letter, but I researched it. It's fake. The letter's never got any source. So basically, what happened was someone made up that Flavius Josephus made the letter, but it's fake. There's no evidence that he. I mean, there's no evidence that, in fact, that Flavius Josephus ever existed. And because I've researched this, because listen, I don't care if Jesus or not existed. What I care about is truth. So, like, I try to research the truth about history. Like with the Holocaust, I was watching Schindler's List, and I thought, where are the dead bodies from the Holocaust? And that's how I found out the Holocaust didn't happen. In terms of Jesus, I don't care if he existed or not existed. I don't hate Jesus. I don't care. But like, I try and research the truth. So I researched that letter that Flavius Josephus wrote his letter, but there's no evidence of the letter. So you can do the research in your own time. But the thing is, there's actually no evidence that Flavius Josephus ever existed. And the reason we know there's no is because no senators ever mentioned him. So we've got a lot of evidence from senators of people that existed, like Trajan and there. The reason we know they existed is because senators mentioned them. Because obviously Rome, the Roman Republic and the Roman Empire, they all had senators and they all left evidence. But the thing is, no one ever mentioned Flavius Josephus. The only place he's mentioned is the Bible. There's no evidence of his birth and there's no evidence of his death. So I don't know. I'm not saying, listen, I'm not trying to prove you wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that the research I've done, there's no evidence that Flavius Josephus actually existed. And I know for a fact that the letter that he supposedly wrote, that's not true. It's false. There's no evidence of the letter. So I've done, there's no evidence of the letter.
I'm not saying it's a good argument, but their argument is that, first of all, you didn't have historians in the sense you have historians.
Yeah, but you did, because I know, because I've researched, historians wrote about the droughts in AD 00, and historians wrote about the Jewish revolt in 21 AD. And Jesus was meant to be born in 0 AD, and he was meant to die in 33 AD. So and so historians wrote about many things that happened during that period, but none of them mentioned Jesus. None of them, not one of them mentions Jesus.
The Gospels mention him.
Yeah, but who was that? The Gospels are based on the letters written by Paul, whose real name was Saul, and he was a circumcised Jew. So, I mean, my personal opinion, I don't believe any of it. But listen, if evidence pops up, then I'm happy to believe. Like I said, listen, I'm not God. Yeah, I'm just someone who shares my opinion. So I don't personally believe anything about the Bible. I think it was set. I think the Bible was written by not just only Jews. I think that the Bible was written by Jews and the Roman Empire, and I think they used it as a form of control. Right? So I don't personally believe anything in the Bible is true. I don't believe it. I don't personally believe. But listen, I'm not God, so I may be wrong. But I'm just sharing my personal opinion. Yeah, I do not. But I think that Paul, the Apostle Paul, he was a Jew, and I think he used the Bible as a form of manipulation. But I don't think he did it alone. I think he did it with the Roman Empire. So I think the Roman Empire got a lot out of the Bible as well. So I think they used that as a form of control. So I don't think it was 100% Jewish thing. I personally believe that they used it together to control the citizens at the time. You know, form of control of people. I don't believe the Bible because I don't believe God. I believe in God, but I don't believe God would wait, because you think 770 million animals lived from when Earth formed until Jesus Christ supposedly came down. And I don't think God would wait that long to send down his son or a prophet or whatever. Right? I think God would be better than that.
I don't like to speculate about what God would do or not, because the standards are his to be set if he exists or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Well,
But I mean, but if we go by the Bible, because we're talking about Christianity, if we go by the Bible says that God made us in His image. So that means all the other animals, like Gorgonopsid, the dinosaurs, Neanderthals, Homo erectus, all these animals, Glycopithecus, all these animals lived, and God completely ignored them, just fucked them off, didn't pay it, just ignored them completely, and then He made us. That I don't believe God would do that, because that would be that's disrespectful to God. So I don't. This is why I don't believe the Bible and I don't believe Islam, because they are dictating that God ignored all these animals, all these great animals that live. I mean, you have to destroy the bites. They are animals that they came out in the Cambrian period, and they lived 300 million years. Yeah. And if we go by the Bible and the Quran, that means that God just completely ignored them. And I don't believe God. That's unfair on God. That's why I don't believe the Bible. I don't believe it, because that's unfair on God. That means that He completely ignored the trilobites and all these other animals, and then He made us in His image. That's bullshit. I don't believe that. I just don't believe it.
Intellectualism, whatever was written in the Bible, it has been sufficiently good enough explained if you get into all this stuff. The majority of Christians don't even bother about all these things. They don't even read the Bible, and I've always considered Catholicism more of a more in the sense of a big part of identity of my ancestors for many centuries, and in when you don't have an alternative, it's a big problem, and we don't have an alternative.
Yeah, I mean you can look at it that way. I mean, in that way, I agree with you that if you look at Christianity as an identity, then yeah, I agree with you completely. I can't argue with that, because if you look at Christianity as an identity, then yeah, it is a European identity, because we achieved a lot. We made America, one of the biggest superpowers ever. We made that on the principles of Christianity. So if you look at it that way, then yeah, I can't. There's no flaw in that argument, because
The principles.
yeah, I mean, Christianity helped us. If we take Christianity as a concept, yeah, it helped us to build a lot. So I agree with you completely. I can't deny that. Yeah,
I would say that it's a lot of what the so-called conservatives or Catholics or Christians are calling Christian influence is mostly traits that Europeans have had since their creation in themselves without Christianity. But it is
yeah. I mean, we built a lot before Christianity, but I don't know. I mean, I think you just coming back on your part. I think you made a good point. I mean, we built more as Christians than we did before we were Christians. So I mean, I agree with you that if you take it as an identity, like European identity, Christian identity, then yeah, I mean, Europeans did a lot when we became Christian. I mean,
my grandpa
one
and
second, I'm just going to grab a bit of a glass of water. Just 1 sec. I'm just going to put the phone down. I'll be back in a minute. Where's my glass?
Yeah,
cool. Keep talking. But I think that's a good way to look at Christianity. If you want to say, I like Christianity because my ancestors were like because I think it started in like the year 2000, didn't it? That's when Jesus Christ was born. My ancestors as Christians, built Europe, like built America, they built Europe, blah blah blah. Then yeah, I agree with you. Then that way, I like Christianity for that, because it's right. It's just I don't know. I'm me, and I've got my thought process because I'm an evolutionary biologist. I've been researching history since I was like, I don't know, 19. Since I was 19, I looked at like before Christianity, before like the animals that existed for thousands of years before, even before humans. So the reason I don't like Christianity and Islam, not just Christianity, Islam, Judaism, the reason I don't like those religions is because I researched all the animals that were long before even humans. Because humans are really new in terms of a species. We're new. We haven't been here very long. So I grew up learning about all the animals before that. The reason I don't like Christianity and Islam and all those, I'm picking on Christianity, but all those Abrahamic faiths, is there were like 770 million animals before us. And like all these, the Bible, Islam, all that, they ignore all those animals. And that's why I don't like those religions, because
what do you think? What do you mean by ignore the fact that?
Because like the Bible, I mean, I know the Bible because obviously I'm a Christian. So the Bible says that God made us in his image. But there were 770 million animals that lived before us.
Yeah, I mean, but this dispute between the religion and theory of evolution, this is in my opinion merely evangelical Protestant thing. American.
I don't know. I've never associated with a Protestant. I mean, maybe I've met some, but I've never met Protestants, so I don't know.
There's a problem. There's a problem because Catholics don't have a problem with
go on. Sorry, go on.
I have to make this argument. Catholics
go on. Yeah, go on, please.
Have an argument with theory of evolution, but that's a problem that becomes a theological problem for them or for us, because the Catholic intellectuals would say you have to read the Bible metaphorically. There are genres. There are different genres in which books, and there are many books in the Bible, are written. And we would say that this is not a historical, this is not scientific genre. This is more of I don't know, semi-fictitious historical epic, whatever. I'm not a scholar in genres written in the Bible, but Catholics really don't have intellectual problem with theory of evolution. So if you're Catholics, you don't have this beef with evolution you mentioned, but it is true that there is a point the Protestants have, at least younger creationists. Okay, if you don't read the Bible literally the way they do, and if you do that, you do come into beef with the theory of evolution. How concretely do you drive the line where you call this the truth from the God, and where you call this some error from the people that wrote it? You do become
yeah. But the thing is, like, I'm a biologist, so
yeah.
Obviously, you don't work with DNA, so it's not. I'm not mocking you. You don't, because that's not your job. You wouldn't understand. But DNA is like, okay, if you imagine a photo album, so like, let's say that your parents, they took photos of you from when you were born, the day you were born, and the day you take your first steps, and the day you ride your first bike, and then you go to school, and they take photos of you all this way through until you're an adult, and you've got all these photos in a photo album together, and every page is a photo. The first page is you being born, and the second page is you taking your first milk, and the third page is you crying the first time. The DNA is like this, but of life. So when I read DNA, I see how animals formed, how they grew, blah, blah, blah. So I can read from genes and nucleus and DNA. I can see everything true. And the thing is, this is like this DNA evidence, it doesn't lie. So like when you take a DNA strand, it can't be altered. It's the truth. Like it doesn't lie. So like when you look at DNA, you can't say, someone wrote that, someone made that, and they changed a bit because they wanted to change a bit. You can't change DNA. So DNA tells the truth. So DNA is completely at odds with every religion, not just Christianity. It's at odds with Hinduism. It's at odds with Judaism. It's at odds with Buddhism. And like, I only trust evidence. So I only trust the truth. Like, so.
But I still don't understand how is this in odds with Christianity.
Because Christianity dictates that God ignored DNA completely, and then he sent his son down to live in abject poverty. There's no evidence. Like, I trust evidence. There's no evidence of the Bible. Like, I only go by the evidence, like the truth. Like, I know Hitler wasn't evil because, you know, he never killed anybody. You know, there's no dead bodies. Like, I don't believe the Holocaust because there's no dead bodies. Yeah. But like, I don't believe the Bible. Listen, I'm not saying I don't believe the Bible because there's no evidence to back it. I'm a man that has to see the evidence. So, like, for example, if you told me I'm a multi-millionaire, I've got 100 Ferraris and I've got a Lamborghini, I go, listen, I like you. I'm not going to call you a liar. I'm not saying you're lying, but I wouldn't believe you until I flew out there, I come to your house and I saw all those Ferraris. You know what I mean? So I can't believe the Bible. For me, it's just a fairy tale. It just none of it makes sense to me. Like, I don't believe it's true. Like, God is meant to exist, but no historians mention him. Like, God is meant to be crucified. But I've been to Rome and I've seen the list of crucifixions, and there's no Jesus Christ. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, none of it makes sense to me. There's no evidence to back. I don't believe Star Wars because it's a movie. I don't believe it. If someone said to me, yeah, I believe in Star Wars and I believe in Luke Skywalker and I can believe in Darth Vader, I say, okay, you can believe that. I'm not going to say you're a liar, but I don't believe it because there's no evidence of it. And this is how I feel about the Bible. There's no evidence.
The classical Catholic intellectual teaching about the relationship between science and religion has been since at least Saint Augustine all the way to Thomas Aquinas, that God can create, hypothetically, theoretically, ex nihilo or ex machina per mechanism. So what you
I mean, I believe in God because we can't explain everything. But for me, God is the energy that drives nature. Like, every day when you wake up, a plant got a little bit bigger. And like, every day when we wake up, trees grow. But I do not believe that God would send a magic man. I just do not believe. I don't believe that God is a magic man. I don't believe that because for me, that's illogical. I don't believe that. I just think that's silly for me.
No, you don't believe it. You said it, but based on what? Because this belief is metaphysical belief. It's not based on science.
Because right, okay. So we know that Julius Caesar existed because there's evidence of him.
Yeah, but why do you believe something God would do or not do? Because what God does or not does, or what he believes or not does not believe.
Because I need evidence. So I don't believe in Jesus because there's no evidence of him. That's why I don't believe him, because there's no evidence of him.
It's not the same question as the question of why do you believe God would do something or not do something? Because they believe that God would do something or not do something is a metaphysical.
Because I think God is an immense figure. So if God were to exist, and obviously I don't know if he exists or he doesn't exist, but I do believe there's something there. But if God were to exist, I do not believe that God would send his son down to live in abject poverty.
Why do you believe? Why?
Because why would God send his son to live in poverty? Like, I don't want to believe in a God that wants his son to be crucified. I don't believe that.
This is wishful thinking. This is not reasoning. This is not argument.
Well, why would God want his son to be crucified? Right, I've got 4 sons. Yeah? I do not want any of my sons to be crucified. Why would God want that?
No. No, you wouldn't want your sons to be crucified. But God's son is obviously God himself, so he's powerful enough that it doesn't harm him in the way that it would harm a human being, and
but crucifixion.
Catholic,
Like, if he's a human, crucifixion's painful.
Yeah,
you know, having a nail put in your hand, that's painful. So I would not want my son to go through that. So, but the other thing is, right, we've got to go by evidence. So, like I said, if you tell me that you're a millionaire, I need proof of that. Yeah. So if Jesus Christ existed, why is there no evidence? Why is there no evidence? We've got evidence of like everything in history. We've got evidence of almost everything. We've got evidence of the ancient Egyptians that lived 1,000 years before Jesus. We've got evidence of that they existed, but we've got no evidence at all that Jesus existed. None. Not none. So I can't believe something with no evidence at all.
Louis, I'm not arguing about Jesus. I'm arguing about philosophical theism.
Yeah, but but I'm pretty simple to understand. So I'm not saying that I am right, but the reason I personally don't believe in Jesus is simply because, black and white, there is no evidence of him. So, like, I don't believe in Santa because there's no evidence of him. And I don't believe in Jesus for the same reason. I don't believe in Jesus because there's no evidence of him. Black and white. I mean, you know, there's no more I can say about that. I don't believe in Jesus because for me it's a fairy tale. There's no evidence of him. So like I said, if you said there's a beautiful woman outside your house right now, she's naked, and she wants you to go in her car and fuck her, and your wife will never. That my wife's downstairs, but she doesn't speak English, right? Your wife will never know because she doesn't know anyone that you. If you told me that, I'd say, okay, send me a photo to prove it. Do you know what I mean? I don't believe things with no evidence. So I don't believe in Jesus because there's no evidence of him. Do you know what I mean?
You do believe in things that have no evidence for.
I do not.
Believe, you don't believe. This is a belief. This is an expression of belief. When you say, I believe that God wouldn't do that, this is an expression of belief, but you don't have any evidence for it. So you do believe.
I do have evidence because in intelligence, it doesn't make sense. Right? There's apart from evidence, there's sense. So, for example, if my friend, like, for example, if a girl says to me, I think my friend cheated on me, I'd say, no, he wouldn't do that because my sense tells me, I know this guy, he's my friend, and I know for a fact that he would not cheat on you. I can say, I know for a fact that God wouldn't send his son down to live in poverty and be executed. That's logical. So, for example, because I'm a scientist, I can say for a fact that things will not happen. So if someone says to me, if someone says to me, like I flew up in the sky, only on gravity. I was flying in the air for 5 minutes only on gravity. I know that that did not happen because my intelligence tells me that gravity would not do that. So my intelligence also tells me that if there's a God, he would not send his son down to live in abject poverty and then be horrendously executed because my intelligence dictates that would not happen.
This is your intuition. No,
that's factual because there's no evidence that Jesus came. There's no evidence that Jesus lived. So,
this doesn't have anything to do with Jesus. We're talking about God's will and about what God would do and God not do. This has got nothing to do.
Yeah, but why would God execute his son? Why would God? Okay, so I'm a father. I would not send my son to live in poverty. So listen, I'm a father. If my son said, right, I don't want to live here anymore. I've got a 15-year-old son. He'll be 16 in a month, right? If he told me I don't want to live in this house anymore, I want to move out, right? I would say, okay, but I wouldn't see him live in poverty. I would not see that happen because if my son said, right, I'm leaving, I'd say, okay, if you want to go, you can go. But then again, I would not see my son live in poverty. According to the Bible, Jesus was born in a barn.
Yeah.
I would not see my son born in a barn. I would not see my son spend 33 years of his life in poverty. I would not see that. If I'm God, if I'm the greatest power in the universe, I would not let that happen to my own son. I would not let that happen. And another thing, I wouldn't see my son be crucified.
No, these arguments are, I mean, theologically, these things have been discussed for centuries, and there have been given good reasons. I mean, metaphysics.
Yeah, but you've got to believe them, and I don't believe them.
You
So the
can-
thing is, I'm not saying if it happened or it didn't happen.
But
The point is, I don't believe it happened.
yeah,
right?
but my point is, it's not fully rational. You
It
believe
is. Right, listen.
things without
Listen. Do you
evidence.
believe the Holocaust? Do you believe the Holocaust?
No, I don't.
I don't believe the Bible. Same thing.
I'm not saying that you should believe it. I'm just saying that when you said that you believe only things you have evidence for, you're
Yeah.
not telling the truth, because you do believe things you don't have evidence for.
I
And
do
this-
not. I do not.
You believe that God would not send his son to earth to suffer. This is your belief, and it's not based on evidence. It's based
I know, but it's based on logic.
It's
Like,
based
that's
on
not. Yeah, but that's not logical. Like, for example, if you said to me, I slept with, if you said to me, I slept with, I don't know, a famous actress. If you said to me, I slept with Angelina Jolie, I wouldn't believe it, because that's not logical.
the
For the
first
same reason, I don't believe God would send his son down to live in poverty. That's not logical, so I don't believe it.
the epistemological problem with your argument is that you are comparing yourself with God, your will, your emotions, your intuition.
But
No,
there is no logic in God doing that. That is like saying that God is trans in a dress. Yeah, God is really a man, but he pretends to be a woman. I don't believe that, because it's not logical. So I don't believe that God would send his son to live in poverty, because that's equally not logical. Do you understand?
no,
I don't believe illogical things. So the
Look-
Bible is illogical, so I don't believe it.
Chris, you're not making the differences between counterintuitive and illogical. These are two different things. Counterintuitive is not the same as illogical.
Okay, if God was a snowman, and he sent his snowman son to live in poverty, I would not believe it.
Yeah, because it's counterintuitive.
No,
It's not
because it doesn't make sense.
intuitive.
Okay, let's say I'm God. I'm God. Yeah, I'm God, and I'm right. Because there's the same evidence but there is the same evidence that I'm God. There's the same evidence that the God of the Bible. Right. I would not send my son Oliverio. He's asleep now. I would not send my son Oliverio down to earth to live in poverty. I would not do that, and I would not let my son Oliverio be horrendously executed on a cross.
Yeah.
Right? If I wouldn't do it, then I don't believe that a real God would do it. Yeah. So that's my thinking. Yeah.
It's counterintuitive to you that God would do such a thing, but it's not illogical. It's counterintuitive.
If I wouldn't do it, then why would God do it?
That's a question for him, but you're not in the position to.
Yeah, but what's your evidence that God would do that?
I can imagine why. I mean, the whole Christian story is about why he would do that.
Yeah, but then again, you have to make imaginative stories why he would do that. And I'm a man of facts. So your stories, and you can say, yeah, but you have to be blah, blah, blah. You have to think outside the box to think he'd do that. I don't think outside the box. I think about facts, right?
Yeah.
I'm a scientist. I think about facts. And you can't give me facts, right? You can't say to me, God did this because of these facts. You can't do that. So for me, your fact. For me, your story is illogical, right? I need right, as a scientist, I think in facts.
Yeah. I get it. But
the Bible is not factual.
Listen,
it has to like magical stories. It has to make magical stories. I don't believe these magical. I need facts.
Listen to me for half a minute.
Okay.
I'm not trying to persuade you into Christianity. What I'm trying to say,
you would never do that. You would never do that because Christianity is a Jewish joke. I'm not a Jew, and I don't believe in jokes.
Listen to me for half a minute without interrupting me. What I'm trying to say is that you don't have evidence for believing what you believe in God. The same way I do not have evidence to persuade you into Christianity. But you're not aware of the second part of the equation. The second part of the equation is also true. What is the second part of the equation? The second part of the equation is you don't have evidence for denying or affirming anything about God if you were to be coherent. But you're not coherent.
I don't have evidence that you're going to have. So basically, I'm agnostic in Christianity.
No,
okay, I'm happy to be agnostic in Christianity.
Not agnostic.
Maybe God is a fucking trans, gay fucking black man. I don't believe in that either.
I presented you with agnostic position right now, but you didn't listen. The agnostic position is I don't have evidence for anything about God. For anything.
Yeah, okay. But the thing is, I agree with that. But then I'm agnostic about anything. So you could say that I don't believe in.
No.
I don't believe that God is. Okay, you can say to me. You have
plenty of beliefs. You have plenty of beliefs. You're not agnostic. I'm an agnostic. I'm an epistemological agnostic because I can truly and sincerely say I don't know. And because I don't know, I don't say stuff about
yeah. But what you're missing something quite serious here, right? I've researched Christianity for 43 years. I am 43 years old, right? I've researched Christianity 43 years, and after those 43 years, I think it's all bollocks, right? That's what I believe. You can come at me with a million arguments, right? But I still think they're all bollocks. I still think they're all bollocks because there is not listen, I studied for 4 years science, right? So you have to give me the little bit of credit. I had to pay to study to be a scientist, you know? It cost me a lot of money. It cost me about £40,000, right? So you have to give me the respect to say that it cost me £43,000 to pay to be a scientist, right? And all these £43, and I've been a Christian since I was like 3 years old. So you have to give me the respect that I've been a Christian for 43 years, right? So I've read the Bible about, I don't know, let's say I've read it at least 6 times, right? So I've read the Bible 6 times. I paid 43, well, no, not 43 years. So I paid 22 years to be a scientist. But all this evidence that I've accumulated from being alive and from being a scientist, all this evidence combined, I can tell you that I believe Christianity is a joke. And there's not one thing that you can tell me of all the scientific studies I've done all my life for 22 years. I've combined all this. I've combined all this together to think: do I believe in Jesus? So all this stuff that I've combined, that I can tell you clearly. I've thought about this a lot. I've thought about Christianity a lot. I have, because I've thought about, well, listen, I many times thought, am I sinning to believe in God? You know, I put all this evidence, all this stuff together, and I can tell you clearly that I do not believe that Christianity exists. I think Jesus is a joke. I don't think he ever existed. I do not believe God would send his son down to live. You know, You're saying that I've only thought about this for 5 minutes. I haven't. I put a lot of effort into this. I think you're
not enough effort to philosophical part of the discussion. Not enough effort because
yes. I can tell you clearly that Jesus did not exist. I can tell you that God would not send his son down to live in poverty.
again,
I can tell scientifically, factually, that none of this happened. I can tell you I can give you a scientific, I can give you 100% scientific evidence.
Atheism failed
None
because
of this thing not exist. But I'm not. But to call me an atheist, an atheist believes that God does not exist. I'm not saying that. I've never said that.
yeah, but I mean, you're
An atheist, by the dictionary word, believes that God does not exist. I've not said that. I've not said that once. I am saying that your God doesn't exist.
and I'm not arguing for it. I wasn't arguing any second.
What I'm saying for a fact is the Christian God does not exist. And I am 99% sure that the Christian God does not exist.
And you have the right, maybe you are right about it, but my claim is that it's not based fully on scientific evidence. It's based.
Okay. What I'm saying is, if
Christians,
it's not based on scientific evidence, then it doesn't exist. Yeah, that's my argument is, if it's not based on scientific evidence, then for me it doesn't exist. I need scientific evidence to believe in something.
But you do believe in stuff. There's no scientific evidence for it.
No, I do not believe.
You believe you have idea of what God should want. You have idea about it and you express it.
No, I have nearly 100% evidence that science does. Okay, if you get, hey, I can end this argument right now. If you come to me with scientific evidence that God exists, I'm willing to listen.
For the existence of God, I'm arguing for agnosticism, which you've been saying you yourself are.
No. I'm a 99.9% sure that your God, Christianity, does not exist. Yeah. So I am happy to live my life that Christianity is a joke.
Luis, are you listening to me? I'm fighting for agnosticism.
Okay. You give me the 100% evidence that Christianity exists.
Luis, I'm not trying to give you one. I'm trying to persuade you that you don't know what agnosticism is, and I'm trying to explain you what a true agnostic believes. A true agnostic believes there is no scientific evidence about anything about God. Not a negation, not an affirmation. You cannot say anything about God. You cannot say anything about his wishes, his beliefs, what he would do. If you're saying you don't believe anything that does not have scientific evidence to support it, you shouldn't believe what God wishes or what God would do.
Yeah, but
there cannot be.
I agree. I agree with all that. I do not. But the things you are talking to me about Christianity, and I do not believe anything about Christianity. I personally think Christianity is. I don't. I'm not an offensive guy, so I am not a person that wants to be rude to anybody. So this is what I mean. I'm trying to be careful with my words. But you were telling me to believe in Christianity. I personally think Christianity is a joke. Right. If I think Christianity is a joke. So no one can come to me with any argument about Christianity because I do not believe. I think Christianity is a joke. So I just turn my brain off when you talk to me about Christianity because
I'm not talking to you about Christianity. You've been talking about Christianity the whole time. I've been talking about the philosophical theism and the foundations, epistemological foundations of agnosticism. Because you
yeah,
said
but
you
anything you say to me about this, all this stuff that you're saying to me is a joke. There is no evidence of God. There is
what did,
no human evidence of God. So
what did
when you carry
I
on talking about God, I just turn my brain off because there is no evidence. So anything you say,
that we do have scientific evidence that you turned your brain off, really, because you haven't been listening to me, and I'm not trying to be rude. You're a fantastic guy,
but
but you
listen,
turned off your
you're a fantastic guy, but you're talking about something that there's no evidence of. So why should I listen? There's no evidence.
okay. I think that this is the topic we have to end it. Listen, for the
I can't listen.
our stream.
You know, I respect you because we followed each other for a long time, and you know that I would die for you. You know, I know you on Twitter. I know you're a good guy, and you know that if you asked me to, I would die for you. But the thing is, when you're talking about something with there's no when there's no evidence, I can't. I simply cannot agree with this because I am a man purely and solely of evidence. So when you tell me anything to believe in Christianity, I can't believe in that because there is no evidence.
Uh, there are some things that can be better understood when spoken in person. So no hard feelings, man. There. This is a topic we obviously cannot sufficiently efficiently discuss over this stream. I hope there were
Look, listen.
occasions for
If you're passionate about Christianity, right,
no problem. No
I
problem.
want to tell you, if you're passionate about this, I do not want to be disrespectful to your passion. I want to tell you because obviously this is a stream about me. So I want to tell you about me, right? This stream is about me, right? That's why we did this stream about me. So I want to tell you, listen clearly. If you're, I never will disrespect what you believe. I will never do that. What I'm saying is, me as a person, I am 100% to the dot about facts. So if you want to tell me about the Bible, for me, if you ask me clearly, do you want to believe in the Bible? I'm a fan of the Bible. I will tell you, listen, I know you love the Bible. For me, every single thing about my personality is 100%. You have to give me 100% pure evidence that I'm telling me. You have to. Okay, let me. I can make it more 100. If you tell me, Luis, you're my lifelong friend. We've been friends for. We were born in the same, thing about you. We were born together. I'm telling you 100%. I went out last night and I met the girl of my dreams. She is perfect. She is beautiful. And she even told me that she knows you. She told me that you and her grew up together. You were high school sweethearts. You dated her at school, and she told me that you would tell me. She told me that you would, if I told you that you would be happy if she's my girlfriend. I'm going to bring her to your house right now, 100%. And and if I told you her name, you would be 100% happy. If I told you I am dating her, and you would love her name, right? All that stuff, I would still say I do not believe your story until you show me evidence. That is the guy I am. So I'm not. I do not deny your beliefs, right? The thing is, I am a guy of evidence. I need 100% evidence put straight in front of my face. You are telling the truth.
Okay.
So,
One last
yeah.
question. Why do you have beliefs about God? Why do you have beliefs about God if you don't believe anything that has not scientific evidence to support it? Why do you have beliefs about God?
Quite simply, because I have scientific evidence that there is a God, but I do not have scientific evidence anything about him. So I need you to show me scientific evidence of God for me to believe. So I have, right, if there's 99.9% God evidence that God exists, right, I need you to show me the scientific evidence of your God. So I think there could be a God, but I do not know what it is. I need evidence.
Luis,
That,
it's getting late and I still have to work a little bit, but I have really, I'll try once again. Why do you believe God wouldn't send his son to suffer? Why? Where's the scientific evidence for it? Where is it?
because, I mean, you're asking me a question you can answer yourself, right? There is no evidence that God would do this. Yeah? There is no evidence that God would send his son. I mean, I don't know why I'm asking this question, right?
It's a
Why?
logical problem, right?
There's no evidence to that I really don't know. Do not know why you answer your question. The question is why? Why would God send his son to come down to live in poverty and be crucified and die in pain?
Okay,
Why? Why would they do that? There's no evidence why would it. There's no point. That it's a stupid question.
point.
The question doesn't make sense. God would not make do this because the whole question is stupid. I can tell you clearly. I can tell you scientifically, 100% that God would not do this. The whole question doesn't make sense. I can tell you clearly, the Bible is a joke because God would not do this.
Okay. Let's go. Let's go talk about some other stuff. Please, I wanted to ask you, why don't you believe in? Why do you not? Why don't you believe in Holocaust? Don't you believe in? Do you believe that
I
it?
do not believe in it. I can answer the. I can stop your question before you finish it. I do not believe in Holocaust because there are no evidence.
Okay. Can you point to the main ones? What are, in your opinion, the main points that negate that Holocaust
Yeah,
happened?
okay. I definitely can answer this question clearly.
Please.
There are no bodies. There are no dead bodies. There is no ash. There is no there are there are no there is no no, I can tell you there is no evidence that there are no autopsies and there is no ash. There is no evidence 100% that the evidence. Okay, if you tell me my girlfriend was murdered, okay, I would say okay, where is the evidence? I'm sorry, I have no evidence. I have no evidence that my girlfriend was murdered. How was your girlfriend murdered? Well, I'm just telling you she was murdered. Okay, where's the evidence? Is there any ash that she was murdered? Is there an autopsy that she was murdered? No, there is no autopsy that she was murdered. So how was she murdered? Well, I'm sorry, she wasn't murdered. Then it didn't happen.
Okay. Nothing. Luis, we've been together for 2 hours now.
Wow, long time.
It's been a long time. Listen, I hope we can. Let's make it a monthly thing or something like that. If you,
Yeah, I'd love, I'd love you to bring me any evidence of all the things that you said. But listen, because you're my friend, we know each other a long time now, but buddy, we've been friends for a long time. So listen, if you can bring me evidence of anything that you've brought to me, I'd love to discuss it in detail, and I will talk about it because I am a man of evidence. You know,
I mean,
you and I are friends. You're a good friend of mine, and anything you bring to me, we can sit down, we can discuss in evidence. I'm happy to do that.
I agree, but in the future, let's put this theological and philosophical discussions to the side, and let's discuss about politics. It's better. It's more fun to the majority of
I'm always happy to discuss anything on evidence. Any evidence you bring me, I'm more than happy to discuss it. But I think you answered your question to me. I think you answered it in your question. Any evidence you can bring me, I'll sit here. I'll discuss it for an hour. But any like philosophical anything without evidence, I'm not happy to discuss it.
at the end of my streams, I always like to tell my audience that there are no political solutions, and that Slovene should be for Slovenes first. Do you have any message for your audience or for my
Yeah,
audience?
I mean, when you talk about Slovenes are the best because I love my Slovenes because they've been fighting for years that to keep it 100% white and 100% Slovenian. So when it comes to Slovenia, I have to tell you this. Listen, I'm with you 100% if it's white. And I know your Slovenian fans will love this. Listen, Slovenia must be 100% white and without Jews. And I have to tell you that we have to keep Slovenia 100% without Jews, and we have to keep Slovenia 100% white and 100% Aryan, and we have to die together. So I will die with Slovenia. That's what I can tell you. I will die with Slovenia 100% white and 100% without Jews. That's what I will tell you.
Thank you, man. Listen, I hope
Yeah,
our common friends will invite you to Slovenia so that we can meet.
100%. Listen, 100% Slovenia, 100% white. Zikao. Zikao.
Thank you, Luis. Hey,
Thank you, my brother. And peace to you. Before we say about your channel, I say peace to you personally, my brother. You are my brother, and we die together. I tell you that.
Yeah, we're all European brothers. Thank you for coming. Thanks to the audience for listening and for all the comments. Yeah, Slovenia, Slovencem,
Seek how, my brother. Seek how.
mi in pa z Bogom vsem skupaj.
Seek how.